fired him at the end of the year, but very quickly going to somebody who ended up playing for a rival school to be their new head coach.
You know, I felt like it got to a certain point this year where we were talking about how everyone's on the hot seat, but if you fire everyone, then there's the amount of coaches that were available this cycle just could not fit the amount of availability.
100%.
So, I mean, they were going to just get a ton of money. That's why Lane Kiffin has a ridiculous amount of money for never winning the national championship. Saban fired him before they won the national championship.
Yep.
But when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, you know, Kentucky, man, I don't feel like that's a job that really anyone wants.
Yeah.
I mean, you're overshadowed by the basketball team,
program,
and I mean, even I'd say the baseball program now at this point. And I'm like, man, who is Kentucky gonna get
Right.
with this coaching cycle? And then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, they're gonna hire Will Stein.
Will Stein, yeah.
I mean, goodness. Look, I know he doesn't have head coaching experience here, and he was the Oregon offensive coordinator, and Oregon's going to let him continue that role all the way through the college football playoff. But this is probably the greatest hire, the most underrated hire, I will say, of this coaching cycle. I think unless Brian Hartline leaves Ohio State, which I will still say, whoever gets Brian Hartline eventually, I know it's more than likely going to be next year.
Right.
You are getting a hidden gem.
Absolutely.
And he is the greatest coordinator right now that is primed to be a head coach. But I think Will Stein is just behind him.
Absolutely. I do too.
This is great.
I do too. And for those that aren't familiar with Will Stein, he comes to Kentucky after being the offensive coordinator. He started his playing career at Louisville. Yeah. He was the offensive coordinator at Oregon these past few years, but he started his coaching career, his playing career and his coaching career started in the Bluegrass State there at the other school in Louisville instead of there at Kentucky. I find that dynamic really interesting as well, that his first head coaching job is with the rival school that's down the road in Lexington.
And, you know, he said in his intro, he was like, you know, I grew up going to Kentucky football games. He talked about the Kentucky football games, even though he played at Louisville. And, you know, the timing of this is just so funny because, I mean, it's not funny that Kentucky got absolutely demolished by Louisville this past weekend. And, I mean, it was like that game honestly reminded me of the Notre Dame-Arkansas game where it's like, all right, you have to make a change at this point. All of that goodwill that Mark Stoops had built up over the last few weeks, you know, that 3-game win streak, you know, maybe coaching, doing just enough to get him one more year. No, when you lose 41-0 to your rival, I mean, there is no coming back.
There's something that has to change. And it just felt like it was kind of in the tea leaf, so to speak, from all the way to the beginning of the season. And now with Mark Stoops, who was the longest tenured coach in the SEC, that now shifts and now goes to Kirby Smart, who's about to coach in the SEC championship game against the Alabama Crimson Tide. It feels bizarre to say because I just remember him right there hip and hip with Nick Saban leading Alabama to that dynasty, and then now at 10 years in this league, he is the longest tenured head coach. And so it's kind of wild to think, number one, how fast time is flying, but also two, these are very, very short runs here for all these coaches that are in the league, and the fact that 10 years in is the longest tenure is kind of wild.
I mean, it also doesn't shock me, though, because, I mean, this is a conference where you have to win. I mean, it perennially was the powerhouse in college football, and you can somewhat make the argument that, hey, the Big Ten's caught up. They've won the last 2 national titles, and you know, honestly, I hate to say it, they might be primed to win a 3rd straight here. I don't see Ohio State, you know, falling off anytime soon, or Indiana. I mean, that game this weekend is going to be very interesting in Indianapolis. But I mean, you have to win, or else you're gone. And I mean, again, I think I said this yesterday. Some of these coaching hires aren't going to work out. And, I mean, there's probably going to be one that's fired within 2 years. I mean, that's just the nature of the sport. There's only one SEC champion. There's only one national champion. And sometimes it is the same team. But, I mean, in some years, they're 2 different teams. And there's only one team in the SEC that wins the conference.
And I feel like as the field gets bigger, let's just say that it goes from 12-team to 16 teams, the pressure gets more. Because there's more spots to get into the college football playoff, which would make it more – I think reasonable to let go of a head coach a little bit earlier if they're not able to make it, given those expectations. And we got a chance to hear from the Kentucky quarterback and Cutter Boley.
Yeah, we just didn't play well enough as a unit, Louisville did a really good job today, and they just outplayed us as a whole, and we just have to be better offensively. This is definitely where I want to be. I want to play for Kentucky. Like I said before, we kind of take it on us. That's on us. It's on us as players. I feel like the whole team feels that way. It's on me. We just gotta be better as an offense, and I gotta be better as a quarterback.
This actually brings up an interesting wave to me, because this is another former quarterback, an offensive guy that's leading, a young guy, not even 40 years old yet, leading this. When you think about this wave here of college coaches, you think about Lane Kiffin, obviously offensive background. His dad and his mentors, Nick Saban and Pete Carroll, are both defensive guys. Right. He was the offensive guy, the offensive guru. Auburn's new head coach, Alex Golesh, South Florida. Offensive guy, led that offense to number 4 in the nation in scoring at 40-something points per game. Think about Will Stein, an offensive guy, was the OC, of course, at Oregon, a former quarterback himself, and a player there at Louisville. And you also think about other guys that are in this league that are offensive. I think the front of their mind is offense, and sometimes they'll coach both. I think Summerall's got he's got obviously a background on both on the offensive side and the defensive side.
That's hard.
I think we are leaning culturally to more younger guys that coach on the offensive side of football, and leaning away from guys like Kirby Smart, veteran tenured guys that are mainly defensive guys. A guy like Mark Stoops was exactly that as well.
Well, I think it also is in part because of the nature of this college football landscape nowadays with NIL and everything. I mean, some people, let's just put it very bluntly, they don't want to change. Dabo Swinney doesn't want to change. Mike Gundy didn't want to change, and that was eventually his downfall. But I think, Will Stein, before he was at Oregon, he was at UTSA, and he did a really fine job there over in San Antonio. But, I mean, you look at some of the numbers this year, 3rd in the Big Ten in total yards per game, 38.2 points per game, 2nd in the Big Ten. But there at the bottom, he developed Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel into, some of the better quarterbacks that we've seen here. And, I mean, Oregon has become QBU nowadays.
It has. Whether they're coming in via the transfer portal, or whether they're coming in like Bo Nix did, or they're just coming in straight up. Those are 2 guys that are in the NFL. Say what you want to about Dylan Gabriel, but right now Bo Nix has his team, right there at the top of the ACC.